4:06 in the Motor City on this Thursday, September 18th, 4:05 right now. We want to take you back to a story, and just in case you haven't heard, I think that the majority of you are going to be a little bit disappointed at what the Oakland County prosecutor has decided to do in this case. But let us go back.
We don't know, Stephen, what caused McKenzie Cochran's death. An autopsy is being performed. But what we do know, when you take a look at this video, he was begging to breathe. A shopper captured this video of what appears to be 3 Northland Mall security guards detaining Cochran after Southfield police say the man was pepper sprayed. The video shows one security guard sitting on the man's legs, holding his feet. Another has his knee in the man's back and is struggling with McKenzie's arms. And a third security officer appears to be kneeling next to the man and maybe holding McKenzie's head and neck. Then come the cries for help. McKenzie desperately telling the officers, "I can't breathe," 6 times. The mall cops respond with, in case you missed it, mall security tells McKenzie, begging to breathe, "You talk, you can breathe." Southfield police say the 24-year-old lost consciousness but had a pulse when they arrived. Cochran later died at a hospital. I visited the home of the 24-year-old Ferndale man Wednesday night. Jeff Vaughn, 7 Action News. Love to talk about McKenzie Cochran. But the family was too devastated to talk. They are aware of this video and tell me an attorney has been hired to bring justice to their loved one's death. Well, I'm told that Cochran may have visited the Northland Mall several times over the last few days, and at one point in time he may have made a violent threat. Late word tonight here to 7 Action News, we did speak to that family's attorney. They do say, quote, "What we believe happened is they oversprayed Cochran with pepper spray, and his respiratory system was compromised. They say if he was given oxygen, he may have survived." That's the latest from Southfield. I'm Jeff Vaughn, 7 Action News. 409 in the city. He is highly regarded as an expert in medical malpractice law, birth injury, as well as auto accident litigation. I'm talking about attorney Gerald Thurswell of the Thurswell Law Firm. Wow, what a disappointing decision by the Oakland County prosecutor. How are you, counselor?
Very well. How are you, Mildred?
I'm shocked. I'm just shocked. I really thought this was a slam dunk in terms of what the decision was going to be. I'm shocked.
So is the family. The family was devastated. McKenzie Cochran, he's 26 years old, no criminal record, no history of violent behavior whatsoever. He's at the mall. He gets pepper sprayed. They take him down on the ground, and they hold him down on the ground on his chest until he becomes asphyxiated. And the autopsy showed that it was compression, asphyxial death. It was the compression of his chest on the ground that resulted in the asphyxia and his ultimate death. And the Oakland County prosecutor today, Jessica Cooper, who I have the utmost respect for, reviewed all the evidence, and she said that she would be unable to show any type of criminal intent beyond a reasonable doubt. And because she didn't believe she could prove it, she wasn't going to charge anybody. So that leaves the family with only their civil remedy left, and those people who caused his death are not going to be held accountable through our criminal justice system.
This is so incredible, and certainly I don't know or understand the law. However, we did see the video. We did hear Mr. Cochran begging to be put in a position so that he could breathe. We saw that. We heard the remarks by the security officers, and that's not enough.
No, if you listen to the cell phone videos, the people who recorded it, he cries out 6 times, "I cannot breathe, I cannot breathe." Then he says, "I'm dying." And then he says, "Call 911. So he's telling them exactly what is happening to them, They have a play-by-play, and they completely ignore him. The prosecutor believed, yes, the security guards may very well have been negligent, but that doesn't rise to the level of criminal intent, that they intended to cause his death in any way. And because of that, she said she wasn't going to charge anybody. Very interesting things were revealed today that we were not aware of. When the Northland Mall security called the police were told, the police officer on dispatcher said, where in the mall where are you? Where are you in the mall? Where are you in the mall? And the dispatcher from the security guards, the security guard dispatcher said, go to parking lot J. They go to parking lot J and they enter the mall. They walk inside and they don't see this L.A. Diamonds where the altercation occurred. So they get on their phone again and they call security guard dispatcher. We're in the mall. We entered at parking lot J. Where is L.A. Diamonds? And the dispatcher says, where are you? And the police say, we're right in front of Mrs. Fields. The dispatcher then has to talk to other people in his office to figure out where L.A. Diamonds is to give them directions. The delay in getting the police to the right lot and then to the area where the altercation occurred was approximately, I think, 7 to 9 minutes because they had given the wrong location. Here's the security guard dispatcher who should know where every store is in the mall and should be able to direct police to come directly to the scene. It's our belief, and I think the prosecutor said so too, that had the dispatcher directed the police to the correct location, they would have been able to take McKenzie and handcuff him, sit him upright, and administer any CPR if it was needed. Because the police officers are trained to handcuff people, take them from a prone position, from lying on their stomach, and get them handcuffed and get everything in order. Whereas the security guards, according to the prosecutor, apparently were untrained and had no idea what they were doing. So it was like the Keystone Cops, where you got the dispatcher telling the police to go to the wrong location, and the security guards not knowing what they're doing. It was horrible. The prosecutor showed a PowerPoint video as to all the errors made by the security guards, but again, she said it did not rise to the level of any type of criminal intent necessary to win a prosecution, on a criminal charge. So that's why she declined to issue any charges.
Charles in Detroit, you're on with attorney Gerald Thurswell.
Hi, Mildred. Nice to talk to you again. Hi, Gerald. How are you today, sir?
Good. How are you?
Counselor, either attorney Thurswell. Go ahead.
Counselor, I'm sorry, sir. Please forgive me. Counselor, since there was no criminal intent, then at the very least, shouldn't they have been charged with involuntary manslaughter?
Well, the elements still contain certain elements whereby they have to know that their conduct could result in serious injury or death. And the security guards were so untrained, had no idea what they were doing. She would be unable, she said, to be able to prove any type of intent that they were engaged in any type of activity that could result in death. Even though, as Mildred Gaddis had said, and she quoted from the previous cell phone video, even though he was crying out that he couldn't breathe, the prosecutor did not believe that the security officers believed that he was in risk of serious harm or death.
Is outstanding within himself. For those of you who just turned the radio on, we have learned that the Oakland County prosecutor, Jessica Cooper, has decided that there is not enough evidence for her to bring forth murder charges or any kind of substantial charges here against those security guards who, by video, demonstrates they're responsible for his death. We're talking with the family's attorney Gerald Thurswell. We'll be right back. Carol, do not hang up.
This is the Mildred Gaddis Show.
It's 4:20 in the city. I'm Mildred Gaddis, 313-568-1200. Attorney Gerald Thurswell, my guest, representing McKenzie Cochran's family. For those of you who are unfamiliar with the name, you know the story. The young man who was at Northland Mall who died as a result of his apprehension by security guards. The Oakland County prosecutor, Jessica Cooper, today declared that there was not enough evidence for her to win a conviction, a criminal conviction in court. Belinda, let's talk about it.
Yes, hello to both of you all. You know, this is really another sad day. But, you know, the way I see the situation, I don't know if the prosecutor, if her decision could be appealed. But my opinion is when those security people decided not to believe that, you know, that he was having trouble breathing, that's when they took on that responsibility. And I don't understand how she could have dismissed that. They weren't a doctor, but they chose to not believe him, so they're responsible for what happened to them, in my opinion.
All right, Belinda, thank you for weighing in.
Okay.
Carolyn Canton, you're on the Mildred Gaddis Show with attorney Gerald Thurswell.
Hi, Mildred.
Hi.
Hello, Mildred. I just wanted to say that how is there no criminal? If someone breaks into your house and you're trying to protect your family and shoot them, there was no criminal intent on your part. You're just trying to save your family, and you will get charged for that. And this is just another thing to show you, because I don't believe they're going to find the guy from Ferguson guilty. It's not just men that's being killed. Women are also being killed by the police. Okay, I think it was a 97-year-old woman who was also killed by the police. It's going on and on. You go on Bible.com and look it up about the women who are getting killed by police. I would not step foot in Northland. Even if I worked at Northland, at some point you got to take a stand and find a job outside of Northland. But I wouldn't work at Northland, nor would I be patronage Northland. I will not step foot in Northland on their property. Because you got to stand up for something or you will fall for anything. And this is going to continue to happen, so nobody should be shocked. I'm not even shocked.
All right, thank you. Gloria in Southfield.
Hi, Mildred, and hello, Counselor. Well, one thing I'm going to the power of the vote. If she come up for election, that's one way we can get rid of her. We can vote her out of that office, Jessica Cooper. It's time for her to go.
Here's something I want you to understand, Gloria. And, you know, we've been watching cases forever and a day here in the city of Detroit. And here's one of the things I've learned. No prosecutor goes to court to lose. They want to win. They want more wins in their columns than losses.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know Jessica Cooper, but I can tell you that people who are passionate about the law certainly want to win when they go to court. She is saying, based upon her legal experience and expertise, she could not win this.
I doubt that. This changed the complexion of him and the complexion of the officers. She would have found them guilty and she would have pressed charges. Trust me. Jessica Cooper has not impressed me.
All right, Miss Gloria.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Right. Bye.
William in Southfield.
Yes, Miss Gaddis. This is another example of the police having to police themselves. You know, it can't be done. It cannot be done. You know, in this day and age, sometimes there has to be a third party to look over things, an independent party to look over things. Ms. Cooper may be right. Maybe she was not capable of winning that case. Maybe she was not capable of it. Maybe someone was, but, I mean, sometimes you got to give it a shot. Even if you lose, you know, give it a shot. Put it out there.
All right, thank you. I don't think prosecutors go through to as much as they want. And I don't know Jessica Cooper, and I'm not defending her. But I think that when it comes to the science of lawyering or whatever you call it, forgive me, Attorney Thurswell, she didn't think that she had the right stuff to get a conviction. Eleanor, I believe it's Eleanor in Chesterfield. Hi, Eleanor. Eleanor?
Hello. Yes, hi. How are you?
I'm good, dear.
Good. It's been a long time. But what I wanted to say, well, if you cannot sue the men, can you sue the company that hired them? Because evidently they put them in a position that they were not qualified for.
Well,
Great
that's what
question.
we're doing. We're suing Northland Mall. We're suing the security guard company, and we're suing
great.
each of the security guards. But I want to say something that Mildred Gaddis just said. Prosecutors do not like to bring charges when they think they can lose, and we don't have to go far back. But you saw what happened with the O.J. Simpson trial many years ago, and the prosecution in California spent a fortune. Then you take Trayvon Martin in Florida, and they tried to convict Zimmerman, and they lost. So I'm sure that Mildred Gaddis is correct. Prosecutors do not like to take cases unless they're really, really sure they're going to win.
Well,
Attorney
well,
Thurswell.
all I have to say is I hope there's enough attorneys that are out there that are confident in themselves that will take these cases.
I agree 100%. But it's not an attorney that does the criminal it's an attorney that works for the prosecutor, and the prosecutor decides what to do. I am handling the civil suit, and I am reasonably sure that we are going to win this case, and the family will get monetary compensation. But that is not the same as seeing those people who performed acts that resulted in the death being accountable in the criminal justice system. And there's a big difference because people are entitled to have both.
Thank you so much, Eleanor. Good to hear from you.
Good to hear from you, too. Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye. Attorney Thurswell, does this case at all qualify for an examination by the Justice Department? Is it that kind of case?
Interestingly enough, Jessica Cooper sent it to one of the experts that the Justice Department uses, and that expert that the Justice Department uses concurred with Jessica's belief that she would not be able to win the case. So they did go to Eric Holder's office. They did retain one of the experts that the government uses, that the federal government uses, and that person wrote a report saying that he believes that Jessica is right, that she probably would not win a criminal prosecution.
Got it. Sharon from Detroit, good to hear from you.
Yeah, actually, I'm calling from Southfield right now. But I'm very disappointed in what's being presented here because the nature of being a security guard means that you should be trained a certain way. And if not, that's problematic. How does Jessica Cooper know that they were trained properly? I just don't understand that.
Michigan is one of the few states in the country that does not require security guards to be trained. Michigan does not require that they have any ability at all. You can just hire anybody, give them some pepper spray or some mace, and here you're a security guard. Michigan has no laws governing security guards. Zero.
And people, if you're angry about this, call your state legislator and ask them to introduce and pass legislation that would require that security guards in the state have more intense training. I mean, I always say that there's something that everybody can do. If you're angry about this, if you feel it's unjust, it's unfair, get busy. Call your state rep, call your state senator, and tell them why they need to do this. That's your part. That's the part you can play. And you can check in once a month. What about that legislation I called about? Write a letter. Get busy. Gerald, you're on the radio.
How you doing?
I need you. You know what, Gerald?
I'm so upset about
Gerald,
this.
I want you to be upset, and I need you to hold on. Attorney Gerald Thurswell, my guest. We're going to go to news, and we'll be right back.
It might seem crazy what I'm about to say, because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof.
Now, back to the Mildred Gaddis Show on on News Talk, AM 1200 and 99.9 FM, WCHB.
It's 4:35 in the city of Detroit. Oakland County Prosecutor Jessica Cooper says that there's not enough evidence for her to move forward with a criminal charge against Northland security guards who were responsible for McKenzie Cochran's death. The attorney for the family, Attorney Gerald Thurswell, my guest. And by the way, the number to the Thurswell Law Firm is 866-354-5544. Once again, that's 866. Well, I guess I should say 1-866-354-5544. Let's go to Franklin. Tish, you're on the air.
Yes, it's very unfortunate, but it has shown light on that people need to be trained, because whenever you use a chemical agent, it affects different people who are combative. Some people, it disrupts their respiratory system. Some people, they suck it up like fresh air, and it doesn't bother them. They can still keep up the fight. But once a person gets cyanotic, or generally they say that they can't breathe, people need to be trained as to when to let up. Because if you can't breathe, there's certainly no threat. And it's a sad position that they're in. And, I've been in that position before. But, now I'm sure they will enact training, all security. They need to start having training as far as that, because when a person is restrained, it's kind of hard to do CPR. So, I just hope that, now they'll get training and enact laws to cover that. And I agree with going on to the civil suit and not wasting money. So I agree on the decision on both parts and stuff. Have a great day.
Thank you. Good to hear from you. Gerald, I am so sorry, Gerald. I was supposed to come back to you first after that break, so please forgive me. Go right ahead, please.
That's okay. I just wanted to know, when is it her decision to make that decision? If it would have went to trial, ain't that the jury's decision whether or not they would have found them folks guilty or not?
Well, Gerald, here's what you need to understand, as Attorney Thurswell pointed out to us. Now, generally, when there is an injustice, we often say, a lot of us, I know I'm one of them, I'm like, okay, I'm not going to worry about it because the U.S. Justice Department will handle them when this investigation is done. And this prosecutor checked in and asked someone from the Justice Department to assess this situation, to give her some advice as to whether or not she had what she needed to go to trial and win. And this attorney from the U.S. Justice Department said it just isn't there. You can go, but you're not going to get a conviction. All the elements that are needed to get the conviction on this case do not exist.
Wow, that's just too much to swallow. I'm really speechless right now. Thanks for taking my call.
Well, I'll say something to you. There are prosecutors in the country that would take a chance and go ahead and do this. I think Jessica Cooper weighed the pros and the cons of winning, and it was her decision. And she's a woman of integrity. She really is. And it was her decision that she did not believe that she could win the case. And you don't want to just prosecute people unless you believe you have a case that you can win. And they're not ever 100% sure, but she didn't think that there was a reasonable likelihood that they would win, and that's why. So,
hi, Eric.
Hello. I just have two quick comments. I think that there ought to be some type of federal legislation that would make police officers or security guards, stop restraining somebody if they say that they can't breathe. And also, I think that, black folk out in Oakland County know how to vote when she comes up for re-election. Thank you.
All right, Lamont.
Yeah, how you doing there?
I'm great.
All right. My comment is this. If they say that the individual security guards have not been trained in the use of that chemical spray and how to handle a situation like that, I find Northland liable. Therefore, if you can find them liable, you can find means that these guys can be charged with this guy's death because they were inexperienced in using that merchandise. So why would you use it? And if you don't know how to use it and cause somebody death, why can't you be charged? All right?
Well, what you are going to find, and here's what I'm hoping happens here, and that is that when this civil lawsuit moves forward, that a jury says, owners, it was in your establishment.
That's
you
correct.
hired this firm. You're responsible. I hope the jury will also say to the security firm, you need to train your folks better. You're liable as well.
That's for sure.
We don't know, but it seems to me you got a dead person here who didn't have a weapon, who did not attack anybody. And the only attacking that was done was by security guards who would not let him up so that he could breathe. And there's a video to prove it. Acha.
Yes, ma'am, Miss Gaddis. Well, I've been thought about you for the past 3 decades. Your batting average is pretty good in lawsuits.
Well, I've only been practicing since I was 8. Became a journalist on my way to law school. So what's on your mind?
Mr. Thurswell, there.
Yes.
About you too, in the courts and your achievements in winning lawsuits. My concern is that whenever there's seemingly there's a crime perpetrated against a black person, there's always this diversion and filibustering excuses, and they find a way to bring in OJ's name as a poster boy, and they talking about finding enough evidence to charge the Caucasian or the policeman. There's no training required for security, and as it relates to addressing these type of problems. I mean, this story is old. We hear this garbage. You don't hear that when it comes to black defendants. You don't hear those excuses.
Attorney Thurswell, step out, Acha. Would you once again outline what the issues are in this case? What the legal issues? What the legal issues are?
The bottom line is this: that they could not show any type of what is known as some type of criminal intent. One is they clearly did not intend to kill him. I think that's clear, and I don't think anybody's going to say that they intended to kill him. So then to rise to the level of a manslaughter, they have to recognize and know that the actions that they are doing, the actions that they're performing, could result in serious injury or death. And they thought, according to the prosecutor, they thought that all this was just trying to restrain him, and then once they could restrain him and then put the handcuffs on, everything would be cool. I don't. What Jessica Cooper is saying, she doesn't believe that they recognize the significance of keeping him prone, face down, with his chest compressed on the ground. I don't think she believes that she could prove anybody that they realize that could result in positional compression asphyxia. And if they didn't think that, then they were just restraining him until they could get handcuffs on him, and they were unable to get handcuffs on him. So they have to have some kind of intent, either intent to kill him or have full knowledge that what they were doing could result in serious injury or death. And it's just she didn't have enough evidence to prove that second portion. They didn't realize that what they were doing could result in serious injury or death. It was interesting because when we were discussing the case before she went public on it, she was talking about these parents who will take an infant in bed with them and let the infant sleep next to them in bed, not realizing that if the parent rolls over on the infant just the slightest degree, that can result similarly in this positional compression asphyxia. And when that happens, the parents aren't charged because they don't realize that that could happen with the child laying next to them in bed. She was just analogizing that to this situation.
We've got to go to break.
Very, very tragic. She could have brought charges, had charges been brought, and one of your listeners very, very intelligently said, let a jury decide. Let a jury decide. She could have done that.
Attorney Thurswell, we've got to go to break. When we come back, I want you to just before we end this conversation today, share with our listeners what they should and should not do if they unfortunately find themselves or one of their relatives in a situation, because there are things that, and certainly if you're killed, there's nothing you can do. But sometimes people can make some decisions that will injure their own cases, civilly speaking. So let's talk about, if you've got a relative, if you've got a son or a daughter or a relative who's in a situation that will ultimately, if it's handled right, be ready, has all the criteria for a strong civil case. What are the mistakes we should not make? I want to talk about that when we come back, okay?
Compelling talk you can count on. This is the Mildred Gaddis Show on News Talk AM 1200 and 99.9 FM WCHB.
It's 4:50 in the city. I'm Mildred Gaddis, and right now we've got 68 degrees. Just in case you didn't know, Prosecutor Jessica Cooper said the guards at Northland Mall had no intent to hurt McKenzie Cochran, 25, and therefore will not be criminally charged in his death during a struggle on January 28th. While the security guards who held McKenzie Cochran face down on the floor at Northland last January as he struggled to breathe were clearly poorly trained, they had no intent to harm him and will not be criminally charged in his death. That was the announcement coming from the Oakland County prosecutor, Jessica Cooper. Attorney Gerald Thurswell of the Thurswell Law Firm, and let me spell that for you, is THURSWELL, Thurswell, and that number is 866-354-5544. Rose, you're on the Mildred Gaddis Show with Attorney Gerald Thurswell.
Mildred Gaddis,
we cannot hear that call. Attorney Thurswell, let's talk about some of those mistakes that should not be made.
Well, that's a great question. I hope that justice prevails in Ferguson, Missouri. What the lawyer who was representing the family of the young man who got killed, he lets his expert go on TV to discuss the case. Every time a witness speaks, somebody's recording it, and they can use what he says today against him tomorrow. And nobody says the same thing twice. So one is, you shouldn't be on TV with your expert witnesses. You shouldn't be on TV telling everybody what your case is all about. They should have avoided it. If you will recall, recently I represent the family of Renisha McBride, the young woman who was killed in Dearborn Heights. The family made absolutely no statements. All the statements that I made were right on the money, but without revealing what the case was about. The case went to trial in front of Judge Hathaway, and there was a conviction of second-degree murder and manslaughter. They got the conviction because the public wasn't told all the details of the case, and nobody used anything that anybody said against anybody. You can't talk to the media and lay out what your whole case is about. And these lawyers and these witnesses that are coming forth in Ferguson, I hope they get a conviction if the officer was at fault, and it appears he was. But you got to keep your mouth shut. You can't talk.
What a great point.
It doesn't help your civil case. If I were to ask you what happened at lunch today, and you describe it in detail, and somebody's recording it, and then I ask you what you had for lunch today a week from now, it's not going to be the same. And somebody cross-examining you during trial wants to find inconsistencies in your statement. Well, if you don't remember this, you don't remember anything. Oh, you must be lying. If you lied about this, you're lying about everything. So you can't let your witnesses talk to the media. You can't let family talk to the media. It just always backfires on you. It does you no good. You're not going to win the case in the media. You're going to win it in front of the jury. And that's why the Renisha McBride case that I was involved in all the way up to my neck, that's why the prosecution was able to get a conviction.
Wow, that's an important lesson. I listened attentively as what is it, Baden? Baden, the world-renowned pathologist, medical examiner.
God. Did you hear that? Did you see that?
I watched it. I thought. Now I got to tell you, I wasn't smart enough to think they were making a mistake, but I was shocked that all of that was being revealed, and CNN and everybody else brought their experts on to dissect what he had said in that press conference. What is his name, Elena? Benjamin Crump. Yeah, he slipped on that one.
Why do it? Why? You're not. You gain nothing. Zero. You want your witnesses not to say anything. You don't want your witnesses to say things. Let them say it when you do the initial interview, and then at the time of trial, they'll testify. But every time you say something, even people are truthful, but they can't remember details. And then a good attorney cross-examining you will find, oh, you made a mistake here, you made a mistake there. No, those aren't mistakes. Were those mistakes or were those lies? When you said that, was that a mistake or was it a lie? Was it a mistake or a lie? If you made a mistake about that, you're making a mistake about everything. If it was a lie, you lie about this, you're lying about everything. Can't believe a word you say. So why do it? Why does a witness then have to justify what he said before? Keep your mouth shut.
Jackson, we're going to wrap it up with you. Jackson?
Yes.
Okay, we're on the radio, sweetheart. You want to talk?
Yes, like I said, the guy that's
Here's what I need you to do, Jackson. You've got to turn your radio down. You've got to turn it now because it's causing feedback. We've only got a couple of minutes left for you to state your case. Go ahead.
Okay. In that case, ignorance of the law shouldn't excuse anyone. This other guy that slam dunked the guard out there, he could have said that, well, I'm trying to save my life because whatever the guard do to you, he ain't responsible anyway. If he kill you, you just dead. So he had a right to slam dunk him. He should have slam dunked him. Throw him through the wall.
Who are you talking about?
Campbell. Campbell.
That's an entirely different. And no, he didn't have a right to do that. No, he didn't. I'm sorry. That's another discussion. We've had it 2 days in a row. But I'm going to say that no. The number to the Thurswell Law Firm here in the Detroit area is 1-866-354-5544. 1-866-354-5544. Attorney Gerald Thurswell, what do you want to leave our listeners with?
Let's just hope and pray that we will get a huge verdict in our civil case, so that the security guard company and the security guards in Northland know that when they don't train their people and their negligent acts result in somebody's death, that they're going to pay and pay through the roof. That the only way people can learn is when they're responsible monetarily in a situation like this, because the prosecutor has taken away any type of criminal punishment.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. Once again, the number to the Thurswell Law Firm is 1-866-354-5544. And we'll be in touch because we want to see this thing move through the courts, Attorney Thurswell. Thank you so much.
Have a good day.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.